afternoon, everybody. How's everyone doing? All right. My name is Connor. I'm one of the trainers here, and I'm going to be chatting with you guys while we're doing our presentation. We do have a bunch of killer whales here that we want you to meet, and we're just getting started. Right now, we actually have a couple pools open to our animals, so we're just calling them back here. So, you guys ready to meet some whales? All right. First up, we're going to have our oldest killer whale. She's also a legend here. At 53 years old, everyone say hi to Corky. Next up, we have a young juvenile male killer whale at 14 years old and over 7,000 pounds. He's actually going to come right here in the center of the pool and say hello to all of you, just like Corky did. Everyone wave at Ikaika. And last but not least, this was actually the first whale that was ever born here at SeaWorld San Diego. She's actually one of our more intelligent animals. Everyone say hello to Orkid. Now, as you can see, our stadium is currently under construction, getting ready for our new experience known as Orca Encounter. This is going to be a new type of presentation where you, our park guests, can learn about our whales and how we take care of them. Now, just like you, it was my own curiosity about animals and nature that led me to having a career right here at SeaWorld San Diego. I actually grew up back east and used to visit our sister park at SeaWorld Orlando, and it's those experiences that led me to having passion about animals and conservation. And now it's my opportunity to share that with all of you. Now, I'm also joined here by a few of my fellow co-workers. So everyone say hello to Vicky over here on the left. Next to her is Amber. There's Christy. There's Candace. And on the far side of the pool is Tom. Now here at SeaWorld San Diego, we have 11 killer whales. And their ages range from our youngest whale at 2 years old, all the way up to Corky at 53 years old. Now their sizes range from little Amaya at 2, who's only 1,500 pounds, up to her father Ulysses, who weighs just a few hundred pounds under 10,000 pounds. And these animals eat a variety of different foods, and their diets range from all the way from Amaya to 50 pounds to our bigger whales who eat close to 200 pounds of fish every single day. Now, as you watch the animals swim around the pool, you might notice that they're actually a little bit different. Now, did you know there's actually 10 different types of killer whales? Scientists refer to these animals as ecotypes. Now, they live in different habitats, pursue different food, and have different body types. Now, even though they are a little bit different from each other, they are still members of one species known as Orcas. Now, if you watch the animals swim around the pool, it might seem like it's a little bit difficult to just tell how large these animals are. And the reason being is because of their color pattern. You'll notice that they have that black, the gray, and the white all over their body. This is known as disruptive coloration. So what this does, it actually breaks up their size and shape from their prey. Now, watching the animals as they swim around, you're going to see Ikaika over here. Look at his dorsal fin. One of the common questions we get here is, why do some fins curve and why others don't? And the reason why this happens is because of what the dorsal fin is made out of. There's no connective skeletal support that's inside that dorsal fin. So at times if an animal such as Ikaika or a whale out in the wild decides to spend more time at the surface, gravity can encourage that fin to curve over to one side. Good thing is that it doesn't affect them in any way because they use their dorsal fin for keeping them stable in the water. Now, if you look at the pectoral flippers on each side of their body, these do have bones and muscle inside them. That's the difference between a fin and a flipper. Flippers have bones, fins do not. And they use these pectoral flippers for steering and stopping. Now, if you were to look at the x-ray of the pectoral flippers, it's going to look very similar to the bone structure of the human hand. Now, the tail flukes at the bottom of the killer whale, this is the powerhouse of the animal. This act is also known as a fin. There are no bones in there. And this is what helps propel the whales through the water. Now, you'll also notice those white iconic eye patches that are on each sides of their killer whales' heads. A lot of people get confused and think that their eyes are located inside these eye patches, but their eyes are actually located just at the corners of their mouth right in front of those white eye patches. Researchers believe that they use these colorations to help coordinate with social behaviors such as hunting and swimming. Let's give one more round of applause for our amazing animals. Common question we get is, how do the whales or do the whales communicate with each other? Now, killer whales and other types of dolphins do communicate in many different ways. One way that our animals communicate with each other is through vocalizations. They do have a muscular flap that's covering their blowhole. This is the only place where they can breathe. So to make those sounds, they have to flex that flap into different shapes and sizes. Let's listen. Each type of killer whale has their own dialect and their own unique set of calls. And sometimes they also use their bodies. Check it out. Now, a jump like that is called a breach. Orkid is making a sound on top and below the surface of the water. So when the animals use their bodies to make a sound below and above the water, they're making a commotion. Now, they may do this to show some excitement, display a little power, or even to get the attention of other animals. We just learned how the killer whales communicate with each other, but how do we communicate with our whales? We actually use hand signals to communicate with our animals. This ongoing communication is an important part of building the strong relationships we have with these animals. And because of these strong relationships we have, something we're able to do is train husbandry behaviors. Now, husbandry is just a fancy word that means animal care. So anything we're doing with the animals that benefits their health are known as husbandry behaviors. So you're going to look over here at Chrissy right there. She's interacting with Orkid. And you'll see that Orkid is gently giving her tail flukes. I talked about those flukes before. They do have veins that run very close to the surface of their skin. So when Orkid is in this position, our vet staff can actually obtain a blood sample. We are very proactive with their health, and we take regular blood samples from our animals monthly. Now, the slide-out behaviors that you're going to see are really good photo opportunities, but this is also how we weigh our animals. So look over here in this slide-out, you're going to see Ikaika right there. Now, Ikaika weighs 7,200 pounds. The reason why we know this is because we weigh our animals weekly. We check their weights to make sure that they're staying healthy, and then make sure that our calves are growing properly. Now, the high-energy behaviors, such as fast swimming breaches, these are great ways to make sure that our animals get the exercise they need. Now, killer whales are among the fastest swimmers in the ocean. They can actually reach speeds up to 28 miles an hour. Now, while fast swims are very impressive using those very powerful tail flukes, another impressive feat that they're able to do is to be able to get their entire body up and out of the water. Watch Orkid, she weighs 6,000 pounds, and right here in the center of the pool, she's going to show off for all of you. Now, food and exercise and physicals from our veterinarians are very important for our animals' health. There's also another key aspect that's very important to their well-being, and that's through learning. We actually work very hard to make sure that our animals are always enriched and stimulated mentally. So one of the ways that we do that is through teaching new behaviors. Now, a question we get here is, how long does it take to train a killer whale? And that's hard to answer because they're always learning throughout their lives. Even Corky at 53 years old is learning new things every day. So you guys are going to be in a real treat here. You're actually going to get to see how we train our animals. So as we're about to get our training session going here, you're going to notice a few different tools that we have. All of us trainers have these whistles around our necks. When you hear that whistle sound, that's us communicating to the animals. Good job. You're also going to notice this target pole that Missy has here. That target pole weighs about 90 pounds. I'm just kidding. It's actually not that heavy, but the little bead at the end of that target pole is a way that we show the animals the different maneuvers that we're trying to teach them. So we'll use that target pole to encourage them to move or present different body parts. And that sound that you might be hearing, that telephone ring, that's actually coming from Vicky over there. She has that yellow box in her hand, and that actually plays an underwater sound beneath the surface. So the telephone ring is actually the same thing as this whistle. It means good job. Alright, so we're doing a new behavior here. This is actually a behavior we're training for our upcoming orca encounter. And this is known as a carousel. You might see animals in the wild actually performing this behavior where it looks like they're circling quickly. And they'll do that to corral prey, usually with fish species. So Missy's using that target pole there to encourage orchid to swim in that circular pattern. So you heard that whistle, that means you did a great job. Let's give Orchid a round of applause. So we're going to do this one more time. So we've also, this behavior is actually pretty new. Orchid's only done this a few times. But you're going to notice Chrissy added that signal in. Now, this is how we start teaching the animals what signals mean. We'll do the signal, and then we'll ask them over to the target pole, we'll do the maneuver, and eventually they're going to start realizing, oh, that signal means to do this. And then we can start taking away the help, and then eventually the behavior will be trained. So Orchid still needs a little bit of help here, but she's getting it, so she's just following that buoy there. Excellent job. All right. Now, another important role the animals have here, because they are ambassadors to their species, is that they are all participating in research projects. Just last year, we completed quite a few, and researchers are able to take this data that we're collecting from our animals and be able to apply it to their wild counterparts to help enhance the conservation of oceans and their species out there. But it is now time for my favorite part of the presentation. Are you guys ready to see how incredible these whales are? All right, well, get excited, because you see all those people hanging out with Tom? Waving at Tom right there? You guys are in our soak zone. Enjoy. Awesome job, everybody. Killer whales truly are an incredible species, but believe it or not, their ocean habitats face many challenges every day. Doing small things such as picking up trash because all things do lead down the drain, or even eating sustainable seafood do make a big impact. It's our world, it's our chance, let's make it right. Thank you so much for seeing our orca presentation, and we hope that you guys join us later this summer for our orca encounter. Enjoy the rest of your evening here at SeaWorld.